Hey guys, what's going on? Inception here, and welcome to another video. Ladies and gentlemen, today we have a new custom tactic to review. It is going to be the Air Japes 4-1-4-1 formation. So guys, with the 4-1-4-1 formation that Air Japes has created, it's going to set up like this, right? So 4-1-4-1, press after possession loss, 45 for width, 85 for depth. Offense is going to be on build up, play balanced, forward runs for chance creation, 35 for width, and then 4-6 players in the box with 1-1 for corners and free kicks. 4-6, it depends on the situation in game with Air Japes, right? Like he'll rotate it depending on whether or not he needs more players to attack or less players to attack, depending on what he notices the most, right? Instructions in game is going to set up like this, right? So your right back is going to be on stay back while attacking overlap. Your left back is also going to be on stay back while attacking overlap. With your right back, he has said that you could play him on balanced if you really want to, because what happens is that if you take the stay back while attacking off on him, the right mid, who's going to be on comeback and defense, cut inside, get in behind, get into the box with a cross, is going to go inside the 18-yard box, but then Manafa is going to occupy that position, right? So it is a possibility that you could do, but obviously with counterattacks being a hugely prevalent thing, it depends on how spicy you're feeling, right? Right mid, again, going to be all four of those instructions. Your right center mid, which is going to be your box-to-box player, is going to be on stay on the edge of the box for the cross, right? Stay on the edge of the box for the cross doesn't mean that these cards will never push forward. It's going to be a combination of a push forward comeback, because you want to have a really good high work rated card there. In our case, for the defensive oriented CDM, we are going to have Palinha playing there with stay back while attacking cover center. In the left center mid position, which is going to be your more attacking oriented center mid, you're gonna have him on get forward, get into the box for the cross. Left mid is gonna be on comeback and defense, get in behind for the left mid area, and then the striker is gonna be comeback and defense for the striker area. Now, I'm gonna give my opinion on the formation and tactic in regards to how it moves in game, as well as Japes' explanation in regards to why he gives instructions to each individual card. So, my thing with this tactic, right, because I don't think 4-1-4-1 is a hugely meta tactic, right, because what you notice the most is how vulnerable it feels in the middle of the pitch if you don't have the right players, right? So let's say, for instance, if I were to take a look at Japes' team, right, so in his case, he's using Laurent Blanc in the midfield setup playing at CDM. He has Leon Goretzka playing at left center mid, and then he also has Barella playing as a right center mid. So if we take a look at the types of players that he has, right, with Goretzka being the more attacking oriented card, you have to take into consideration that yes, this card is more attacking oriented because he's the high medium work rated card. However, he is a card that has defensive capabilities, right? When I was using someone like Bernardo Silva in the team in that left center mid area, I did notice wanting a player to still have defensive stats there, right? So even if that would have to be me using any sort of high medium work rate card, it could have been someone like a Modric. Even that would have been fine because Modric has some defensive capabilities, right? So if you take a look at this Modric card, he has some defensive capabilities. You give him a shadow chemistry style, he can work in that area because he's the person that's medium, which I feel like would be fine to have in that position as well. But I feel like Goretzka is a very good example of the best type of player that you can have in that position because he's taller at 6'2", right? In Japes' case, he gives him the Hawk chemistry style, right? He gives him the Hawk because obviously he becomes a lengthy player. If he's going to be the more attacking oriented card, obviously having the 4-star weak foot, high medium worker, unique body type, it's going to be very helpful to work with all of the stats set up the way that it is because his defensive stats is still pretty decent for the card that's going to be more attacking oriented, right? So it's just food for thought when it comes to these types of dudes in game, right? I do feel like a Goretzka type of card is very ideal, right? A high medium taller player in that area will be more ideal. I was using Bernardo Silva there, and although he's very nice in the attack and it's very noticeable because honestly, like if he gets a promo card, he'll be sick. It's very nice to work with, but I just feel like having that extra defensive presence there is super helpful. In the left mid, right mid position, you can see that I was using Phil Foden and Diogo Jota. They're the cards that I usually use in the side positions because of the high work rates that they both offer. However, I don't think you have to be as linear in the side positions because you don't necessarily have to have a high defensive. It's helpful to have, of course, but they're both going to be on comeback and defense anyway, so you can have any sort of, you know, side-oriented player there, right? So in Japes' case, he's using Leroy Sané, and I think that's Brolin. I forget what that dude's name is because I don't know who that is. Is it Brolin? Yeah. So he's using this guy, which wouldn't be a horrible choice because guess what? He's right-footed, right? High work rates to have in that side position. And then obviously, what does he give him? Like a hunter? Yeah, he gives him a hunter chemistry style. And then he's working with a player who ends up being explosive while working with a high defensive work rate, right? So it's a good balance to have there. Sané, Japes is like, you know, Bundesliga, Bayern Munich type of guy, right? So having him in the side position is something that he could totally work with, medium work rates, but you're forcing instructions out of the card to make them feel a little bit better in game, because Japes likes to use sentimental value too, which is always fun, right? And then up top in the striker position, he's using someone like Kenny Dalglish, right? So Kenny Dalglish, obviously pretty nice to have in that area. In my case with the team, guys, right? It's like I mentioned to you guys with Cristiano Ronaldo. I feel like people that really care a lot about lengthy, lengthy is not always going to be super ideal. It really depends on your playstyle, because having Ronaldo to be the controlled player on a hunter, I don't know, it just feels like a better balance in the team for me personally, right? Lengthy, I feel like people like a lot because people love playing like rats, going for those like counter through balls all the time, right? I just don't really build up the play that way. So having him be controlled is definitely nice. This Kenny Dalglish versions that Japes has, 87 rated, Kenny Dalglish. Let me see. So 87 rated Kenny Dalglish is an explosive player. I like explosive players too, man. Explosive players are sick. And he has him on a hunter. So a hunter still makes him explosive, right? So that's really good to work with. He's got the 5-star weak foot, 4-star skills, lean body type. Like this looks like a really good card, right? So having the right attacking AI up there is definitely going to be very helpful. I've enjoyed using players like Correa in the past, right? Because they only have the comeback and defense instruction on the card for the striker position. So it makes a lot of sense. So generally speaking, I do feel like this is a very good variation of the 4-1-4-1, because although it feels vulnerable in defense if you don't have the right players, because it's very important to have the right midfield setup, although it feels vulnerable in that area, you definitely notice the attack feeling really nice. The attack is definitely really nice because even when people use pressure tactics against you, you still stretch out the play quite nicely. Now, as you guys know from the rant video, I've told you guys that no matter what tactic you use, that tactic is still very overpowered. And if your gameplay is slow while they use it, you're basically not playing the game anymore. Just uninstall it from the console, honestly. But regardless, against the pressure tactic, it was still very helpful to work with when I needed to open up space in certain ways, right? So it's just one of those types of formations where it allows you to use something different that still works in the meta of the game, but I personally don't think it feels fully meta, right? I'm not saying fully meta in the more like park the bus defensive way. I'm saying fully meta to have a good balance of the attack and defense, because the defense is where it feels, like I said, very vulnerable. I always feel like when I'm, you know, blocking out the middle and the side positions, it just feels kind of weird, right? But obviously, maybe if you work a little bit with the midfield setup, you know, having different types of players, it's gonna be very ideal. Like I said, I feel like a very key person that he has in that team, you know, I think that someone like Goretzka definitely makes the whole team move a certain way, right? And in his case, giving him the Hawk to be a card that attacks with you, like almost like your secondary striker in a way, right? It is helpful to work with. So yeah, Japes always comes up with very unique tactics that can work really well in the meta of the game. It's definitely one to try out if you have the right types of players. But like I said, I feel like the best formation I've still used so far this year is definitely that 4-2-3-1 from Boris. Only difference of the change that I did was to put stay back while attacking for the defensive oriented defensive mid and someone like Palinga, right? So yeah, still a very good formation, still a very good tactic to use if you want to use something different. But yeah, I'll show you guys the highlights in regards to how it attacks, how it opens up the space for the teams. But obviously, if you come against park the bus people, it becomes very linear, right? That's where he says that, you know, having players in the box set to 4 or 6 or 4-2-6, depending on the situation of the game, is going to be a very ideal thing to take a look at. So I'm going to be leaving a link to the Air Japes custom tactics, because he does it in this newsletter thing, right? So obviously you just click on it, and then obviously you could take a look at all of these specific things that he says and why he does these things. For me personally, I don't like reading how a formation works, because you have to kind of see the patterns of play yourself and then adjust to it. You know what I'm saying? Because sometimes people will use a certain custom tactic and be like, oh, this custom tactic is really like not that great. Here's the thing, when you try out a new custom tactic, when it's different, you're not always going to do amazing with it in the beginning. Like, I never start off like super hot unless the tactic is like super noticeably good. Like when Japes did the 3-4-1-2 tactic last year, like I didn't have to adjust to anything. It was just absolutely incredible to use just in general, right? It was an amazing formation to use, and I hope he makes that formation again, because I feel like the 3-4-1-2 that he made last year, it made me enjoy the game for like half a year, right? Like 6 months of the year, that formation really carried me through that game. Regardless of it not being fully meta, it was still really fun and just really sick on the attack to use against the meta rats, right? So yeah, like I said, I'll be leaving a link to this post that he did for the 4-1-4-1. I couldn't do this for his 4-3-3 because I don't think he posted about the 4-3-3 in the post, but he did it for this time on the 4-1-4-1. So again, be sure to check it out. Oh, also with the goalkeeper, almost forgot the goalkeepers. I personally always put sweeper keeper comes for crosses. I don't know if you guys do too, but for me it just works out really nicely personally. I always put it on my players for the goalkeeper position. But yeah, that's pretty much it. If you guys want to see the explanations that he has, like I said, we'll leave a link in the description down below, as well as the comment section for this post. Okay, so enjoy the highlights, guys. Peace out. I just scored a nice goal and I didn't record it. I have to get it after. Nice goal. We'll take that. Nice. Stretches out the play quite nicely, I will admit. Got him. Oh, okay. That was a little awkward, but we move. Against pressure tactics, it's not bad, eh? Because it like stretches out the play while also working with the middle. But if you lose the ball in the middle, that's where it becomes a problem. Okay, so the goal that I ended up missing was this one, right? So let me see if I can do the... Yeah, okay. We pass the ball from the side position, open up the play in the middle. Bernardo Silva, so look at the instruction of his getting forward with this tactic, pushing the guys all forward, right? So we make this pass here to Valverde. Bernardo Silva is in a fantastic position. We find him, make the through ball to him, and we ended up scoring a nice little tap shot past the goalkeeper. Ronaldo the Beast. Ronaldo the Beast.
Bernardo Silva. Sanchez. And it's fallen for Ronaldo.
Beauty. Good finish. Good finish. Nice, Ronaldo. Good finish. Good finish.
Silva. And he has options available. Foden. Can he take this chance?
Nice. Good job, boys. Good job. Good job.
Renato Sanchez with it now.
Nice. Come back from 2 goals down. Nice. So with this formation, guys, I really enjoy the attack, but you really have to get used to your defensive style with it. Like, you need to have midfielders that are really good at kind of blocking out that general middle area, because it's very easy to defend. It's very easy to attack against, right? That's what I'm trying to like figure out with it. He's leaving.